Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a really important new report all about China's retirement challenge and, what it uncovers about the psychology of saving and just how much our own perception matters. Well, that's something we can all learn from, no matter where we live.
All right, so here's what we've got lined up. We're going to start with the big picture, the demographics making this so urgent. Then we'll dive into this retirement readiness score, basically the country's report card. We'll also get into the psychology of why we save the way we do, which is super interesting. And we'll wrap up with a roadmap for what comes next. Okay, let's do this.
Okay, so first things first. To really get why this retirement challenge is such a big deal, we have to start with the people, the demographics. A couple of key numbers here really paint a picture of why this conversation is so critical right now.
Take a look at this number, 15.38%. That's the percentage of China's population that was 65 or older at the end of 2023. Now that might just seem like a number, but trust me, it's way more than that. It's a huge threshold, a real signal that the entire social fabric of the country is shifting.
And there's actually a name for this. When a country crosses that 14% mark, the UN officially calls it a deeply aging society. So this isn't some problem for the future, It's happening right now. It's already changing everything, from the economy all the way down to everyday family life.
And that brings us to this next number, which really shows the economic squeeze. This is the elderly dependency ratio. At 22.5%, it basically means that for every older person, there are now fewer than 5 working-age people to support the system. You can just imagine the kind of strain that puts on pensions, on healthcare, on everything.
Okay, so with that demographic pressure cooker in mind, how are people actually doing? How prepared are they for their own retirement? Let's check out the headline score from this big 2024 report.
And here it is, 5.53 out of 10. Oof. Anything below a 6 is considered low preparedness. But you know what's maybe even more telling? That score is exactly the same as it was in 2023. It hasn't moved. That tells us this is a really sticky problem that's not getting any better, at least not yet.
It's kind of helpful to see how they even get to that number. It's not just one thing. It's a mix of these 6 different areas. Everything from, am I even aware I need to save, to do I actually have a plan? And am I confident I'll hit my goals? And get this, out of all 6 of these dimensions, only one of them, retirement plan completeness, showed even a little bit of improvement. Just a tiny bit.
So a big part of understanding why that score is so low is looking at the tools people actually have to work with. China's retirement system is built on something called the 3 pillars. Let's break that down.
All right, Pillar 1. This is the big one. It's the basic state-run pension. Think of it as the foundation of the whole system. As you can see, coverage is huge, over 80%. This is what most people are counting on.
Then you've got Pillar 2. These are your company plans or enterprise annuities, kind of like a 401k in the US. But look at that drop-off. Coverage plummets to around 34%. And these plans are mostly found in big state-owned companies or government jobs, so a lot of other workers don't have access to them.
And finally, Pillar 3. These are the personal, private pension accounts that you set up yourself. And again, the coverage is pretty similar, right around 35%. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that pretty much everyone is leaning heavily on that first pillar, while the other 2, well, they've got a long way to go.
Okay, but it's not just about the system itself, right? It's also about how people think about saving, their mindset. And honestly, this is where the report gets super interesting, because they ran some fascinating experiments on how we make financial decisions. So they asked people, what do you want most from a retirement product? And the answers speak volumes. It wasn't about getting the highest returns. Not at all. The top 3 things were public transparency, keeping their principal safe, and liquidity. In other words, being able to get their hands on their money if they need it.
To test this, the researchers set up a choice. Imagine you have 2 options. Both are pretty low risk. Option A lets you access your money easily, but the return is a bit lower. Option B has a better potential return, but your money is locked up. What do you do?
And wow, look at the results. A whopping 64% of people went for liquidity. They chose easy access, even knowing it meant a smaller return in the long run. That just shows how much people value that feeling of control and safety over their money.
Okay, let's try another one. This time, liquidity isn't an issue. You can access the money in both options, but one is super safe with a steady but lower return. The other one has a little more risk, but also the chance for a much bigger payoff. Which way do you go?
And again, just look at that. A massive 76% played it safe. This tells you everything you need to know. When it comes to their retirement nest egg, people are incredibly risk-averse. For them, safety isn't just important, it's everything. It trumps the chance for higher growth, hands down.
Now, this next part is maybe my favorite bit of the whole report, because it's all about psychology. It shows how the way information is presented to us, how it's framed, can totally change a massive life decision, like when to retire.
So here's what they did. Super clever. They took two groups of people. For group one, they showed them what their pension would look like as a monthly payment. You'll get X amount per month. For group two, they showed them the exact same amount of money, but as a total lump sum. You will receive a total of Y amount.
The difference is just staggering. The people who saw that big lump sum number were way, way more likely to say they wanted to retire early. We're talking 66.5% versus just 46.5%. It's the same amount of money, but seeing it as one giant number just made them feel richer, more secure, and ready to call it a day.
So you take all of this, the demographics, the low scores, the psychology, and what do you do with it? Well, the report doesn't just leave us hanging. It lays out a pretty clear roadmap for the future, with specific advice for 4 different groups.
And really, the big message here is that everybody has a part to play. This isn't something one group can fix. It's going to take the government improving the whole 3-pillar system, companies stepping up for their employees, the financial industry creating products people actually want, and of course, all of us as individuals getting smarter about our own financial futures.
And that really brings it all back home, doesn't it? It takes all this big national data and boils it down to one simple personal question. How prepared are you? It's a great reminder that our financial future isn't just about spreadsheets and numbers. It's about psychology, perception, and the stories we tell ourselves about money. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.